Now you see, this is why I say this show is the best show on cable TV right now, and definitely on AMC. Into the Badlands, Season 3, Episode 4, Blind Cannibal Assassins. Let's talk about it. Didn't I tell you? The best show on AMC. You guys, we're talking Into the Badlands. If you are new to the channel, welcome as always. I hope you love this. If you're new, I hope you love what we're going to talk about today. And I definitely hope you subscribe and join the community. As you know, if you've ever seen the trailer for this channel, one of the things we cover heavily is Into the Badlands. And man, Episode 4, Season 3, Into the Badlands, Blind Cannibal Assassins was awesome. So let's get into it, you guys. I said from the last one, oh, incidentally too, if you saw my review from last week's episode, I had some theories. Apparently those theories were busted in this episode, but that's okay because this episode was so daggone good. So let's get into it. You know, last week I was like, well, where's Gauis? Man, did they bring that guy in like a boss. So we get introduced to Gauis, Baron Chua's brother. I always want to call her Madame Chua. For some reason, you know why? Because I associate her with Madame Chua from Iron Fist. Not even nearly as good on Netflix. But I was about to do it again. Not Madame Chua, Baron Chua. We meet Baron Chua's brother, Gauis. And that's the first thing we get when it opens, and he's just kind of going over his forms. He's locked up, and he looks like a boss just from that first scene. So I was so happy the way that they brought him into the narrative, because I was wondering when we were going to see him. I was kind of wondering what he was going to be like, but he comes across as just a cold beast. And how about how they have changed the fighting style with him? You know, they said that this season we were going to see different types of fighting styles. I mean, primarily what we've seen so far in the show has definitely been a very, very heavy Chinese influence on the martial arts, which I love, because for me, I'm a little bit biased because I have a black belt in Kung Fu, but Chinese martial arts is definitely the most beautiful to look at when it's being executed. So I'm so happy that they went that route with this show. But we do get introduced, right, to something different, and they said they were going to give us some other forms of martial arts in the show, and we start to really see that kind of pop up with Gauis and how he kind of leads this whole clan that's kind of really got its bases in a Japanese form of martial arts. Kind of at its core, it looks like ninjutsu, and it's just awesome to see all of that. But one of the things that I thought was really cool about this show is how both Baron Chua sent someone, as well as Minerva, to confront Pilgrim. I thought that was awesome. I thought the fact that they both converged on Pilgrim at the same time was really good. I think that's a great way to write the two of them meeting Pilgrim in the narrative. I think that's just so amazing, the way that they handled that story-wise, and I think it came across so well also. So I was excited to see that, not just talking about the fight scene in that, which was excellent, and again, kind of like this Japanese influence when you see them infiltrating the castle, and kind of how they have you know, I'm just gonna start calling her Madame Chua, right? Because I just want to keep doing that. Baron Chua's brother, how his forces are going through, and you kind of see that shaded combat. I think that all of that was awesome. But there's so much more to talk about, you guys, in this episode than that. So there's a lot going on here. We get some major story arcs in this episode too, which I think is really cool, especially with Sunny and Moon in this episode. Some things that I thought were really cool as we really kind of start to see their characters develop. And when we think about Sunny, how Sunny now is really transitioning a lot from season 1 to where he is now in season 3. And Moon, you know what I said? That's my boy. And I was so happy to see him transition from that vendetta with Sunny. And when I heard him say the words after they got out of the whole sequence in the underground, wherever they were, underground fort, with the blind folks there, and we're going to get into that in a second. I was so happy to hear him say that the honor had been satisfied. And that was cool, man. Like, the fact that he went out like that with Sunny, because I like Moon. I like Moon a lot. I like Sunny as well. and it feels right to see the two of them together, or kind of bury the hatchet, so to speak. But what's really interesting about that is really Sunny during the whole interchange between Moon and Sunny in this episode. Now, you guys have seen it before, but just, I guess, a quick recap. What happens is, Sunny and Baji, of course, they have crossed that choke point where everybody was getting peeled off by Baron Chua's archers. They get through it, and they're on their way to see the Mad Witch, who I thought was Cressida, but is not. And had I been paying more attention, I probably would have noticed that from episode 3. But anyway, they're on their way to see her. They meet this other blind guy, and they stop to eat. He drugs them, and then they take them to this underground passage. Now, what was really cool about that is that Sunny, of course, recognizes the place, and he recognizes where they are, and he knows the people who are there. And then we get this flashback. Normally, I hate flashbacks, but this was really cool for a number of different reasons. One, we got to see Waldo in action outside of the wheelchair, and we got to see Sunny as a Colt, which I thought was really good too. Kind of seeing the development of Sunny from the beginning was really cool, and how he really did have a part to play in putting those folks' eyes out. So apparently the people who are inhabiting this kind of underground bunker are all blind by the hand of Sunny. And that's such a strong story and such a good way to really create a turning point for Sunny. It really is kind of like a catharsis for him, because I feel like that is the point in which Sunny really does shift, when Sunny really does pivot. I think that before I told you that Sunny was really having a hard time accepting that he was just not this evil, this bad person. In season 1, he first with this idea, because people are kind of saying that to him, that you're not all that you think you are in terms of just being this heinous person, but he can't accept that in his mind. So we see this journey with Sunny through season 1 and season 2, where he is starting to make this change. We start to see that arc in his story across a couple of seasons, and I feel like this episode, he really does make that turning point. There's a lot of things that lead up to that. There is the death of Vale, there is the birth of Henry, all these things that slowly began to turn him from the path of just kind of this diehard clipper, it's Baron's will always, to someone that's different, someone that wants change in the Badlands. And to that extent, I feel like he's almost a little bit aligned with Minerva, even though her way of kind of creating this change is a little bit different. But it's really nice to see that arc and that progression with Sunny. So it'll be interesting now that they've really kind of started to have him make that turn, to see what happens now with him and MK, right? Because MK at this point is looking for Sunny as well, because MK believes that Sunny killed his mom. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how all of that transpires, and I want to see what actually is going on there. Is it the case that Sunny did do it? Maybe Sunny did. I mean, you could see, right? You could see him doing something like that. As a clipper devoted to Baron Quinn, I could totally see Sunny going in, and Sunny is following the Baron's orders. He was taught by Waldo, and Waldo is someone who always would say, I know how to follow orders, right? So now to see this change in Sunny, I think it's going to be super interesting to see how all of that stuff plays out in the next couple of shows to come, and how they begin to really, again, unpack and develop Sunny's character really after this turn. So I'm interested to know what you guys think Sunny's character will be. How do you think Sunny will grow as a character as we watch continued episodes? So I thought that was really cool. I love the story arc with Sunny. I like what they did with Moon too. So now I'm interested to see what happens with Moon. Here's my prediction. Let me know what you think. I think that now Moon does not have kind of this one-track mind with getting back at Sunny. His honor is fulfilled. So now I think he's going back for Lydia. That's what I think. I think that he's going back for Lydia. I think he's going to play the game with my girl, the Widow. But his primary objective now, I think, really is Lydia. And now it'll be interesting to see if he actually starts taking lives, if he needs to, because I don't know if you guys are paying attention or not, but he hadn't killed anybody since his fight with Sunny, because, it was all about who was worthy enough for that last tattoo. Now, I'm a little bit scared. Because I do kind of feel like, oh man, either Moon might get into it with Pilgrim, or Moon might get into it with one of the Dark Ones that's under kind of Pilgrim's control. And I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope he doesn't perish as a result of that. I don't know, I just got this feeling about that, but I hope it doesn't happen. So I was really happy to see his arc as well, and to see things change with him also. Now I'm really interested to see kind of how things line up as well, also with the Widow and with Baron Chua, because they've all had contact with Pilgrim in some sort of way. Of course, Baron Chua's forces had contact with Pilgrim through attacking him, but the Widow took a different route with him, kind of a more a peaceful route. I love her, man. I love that girl because I think she's so smart. I do. I think she's so smart, and she's so adaptive in so many different situations that I really do enjoy her. So I thought everything about this episode was awesome. The fight sequences, oh mercy, how about the choreography for the blind fighters in the bunker? Oh my God. Whew. Man, if you're not watching this show, if you stumbled on this video and maybe you hadn't seen the show and you said, maybe the title, Blind Cannibal Assassins caught you. Oh my gosh. Listen, you need to, if you are a fan of this show and you haven't subscribed, where's my pen? Hit the subscribe button and share the mess out of this video. Why does this topic on YouTube get so little views unless it's AMC? Because I know the fan base for this show is big. I know it is. Because AMC is really starting to push this show more. What is going on YouTube? I don't know. But we need to get some more discussion. We need to build the community around this show on this platform. Jeez. Anyway, you guys, I just thought this episode was so good. Episode 4, man, was so good. I thought that we got some really, really important things with the story arcs in episode 4. Big turning point for Sunny. Big turning point for Moon. Hey, did you guys notice when, I always want to call her Blink, too. That's not her name either. I'm all over the place. I'm all in Marvel movies and everything else. But, Castor and Nyx. Did you guys notice when Nyx was getting off of kind of like the ferry, and Lydia and the Widow were getting on, how she kind of had the box to track her? You guys know that the Widow saw that. She recognizes that box. I thought that was interesting too, how she looks at it, so she recognizes what's going on. So it'll also be interesting to see what happens with Castor as well. It appears that he might be on his way out, but I feel like there's going to be some kind of twist going on there now too. And also apparently they're going to try to recruit MK. We'll see how that goes also. I was a little bit scared, right, with what happened with Gauis. I knew that he wasn't going to die just too early in the show, but he got a nice blade to the shoulder or whatever, and that really messed him up. So I was a little bit scared about that as well. I'm looking forward to more character development with him, kind of see what he does, or kind of see how he really plays into the narrative. So now it's really getting interesting. Now the story is really picking up, it's ramping up for me. So I'm still looking for Waldo. If anybody knows where Waldo is, any theories, anything like that, please share those in the comments. I'm still looking for Waldo, and I'm still looking for Jade. I said in the last video, like, she hasn't died yet. I didn't miss something, did she? Jade is still around, but we haven't seen her. So I'm still looking for her as well. Man, things are heating up in the Badlands. I tell you what. Okay, so I'm done. The best show on AMC. That's all I have to say. Guys, thank you so much as always. If you like this show, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We're also going to be doing some stuff with comic book movies as well. We're going to be doing some new reviews with how we do reviews for comic book movies and other movies as well. I said in my last video, I got some ideas. Hopefully it catches on. Either you guys will be like, oh, this is super lame, or you'll be like, oh, this is an awesome idea, and you'll join me in kind of reviewing movies in a little bit of a different way. Movie reviews with a twist, we might call it. Anyway, you guys, having said all of that, thank you so much as always. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you love this show or comic book movies. Then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you share this. Let's get the conversation going about this show. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.